All right, you're listening to Rutherford Magazine Show. We changed the name to Conversations with Mike Sparks. A lot of folks have been asking me about that, but a lot of our conversations are a little bit larger than Rutherford County. Got a big show tonight. In fact, I got so many guests that Jackson's been getting on to me. We don't have but a few mics. So in the foyer, I've got Mark Brassfield, the owner of the Safe House, and Christopher Alford, owner of the Southern Bunker in Smyrna. We're going to talk a little bit about Second Amendment as well as the First Amendment. It's first for a reason. And going to talk about a big event that they've got coming up. And I'm hoping that Mark and Chris are back there talking about maybe joining forces for Chris's event at Sam Davis Home. And that event at Sam Davis Home is called the Bunker Bash. Sam Davis Home, 1399 Sam Davis Road in Smyrna, August the 24th from 10 to 5. And you're going to hear more from Christopher here in a few. He's a gunsmith and recently started his store, and sadly was recently broke into. You know, we're seeing a rash of that, and sadly some of this is gangs, what I'm hearing, and from Venezuela and some other areas, believe it or not. That's what I'm hearing. You know, I'm just saying what I'm hearing. But in the studio, I've got Keith Bratcher, retired firefighter and road board member, as well as Paul Johnson, retired THP colonel, now been on the county commission since I was probably 2, and and he's on the road board too. Guys, how y'all doing?
We're doing fine. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
When's the last time you've been on up here at WGNS?
2006. When I ran for sheriff.
Are you serious? 2006.
I'm serious as a heart attack.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
That's shameful. Shame on you, Bart. You hadn't had Paul up here.
They've had a whole lot more important people than me.
Nah, well, I appreciate your humbleness. No, but well, before we get started, we're going to talk about a little bit road. I think we've got Greg. I think Greg Brooks going to call in, and but tell us about your days, Paul, at THP.
Okay, I was very fortunate. I made up my mind when I was a sophomore in high school that I wanted to be a Tennessee Highway Patrolman.
Yeah.
It took me 4 years and 3 months to get on, okay? And I was one of the happiest little fellas you have ever seen.
How old were you?
I was 24.
Really?
When I finally got on. And the first day of my work, October 1, 1962, I said, Lord, I will be so happy if I can just make it to retirement as a trooper. I'll be one of the happiest little pigs in the pen.
Yeah.
Had no idea that 22 and a half years later, I would be the colonel of the Highway Patrol.
Wow.
In charge of a $26 to $28 million budget and 600 personnel statewide.
What did you enjoy most about that?
I enjoyed the responsibility
Writing
of
tickets?
it.
Writing tickets?
Well, in a way,
Don't say that.
the deserving ones, yes.
I'm kidding you.
But no, it was a good career, and the good Lord's blessed me beyond imagination.
Yeah. How many years you been on county commission?
I'm on my 19th year. I've been elected 5 times, so in 26 it'll be 20 years.
So the people sent you back how many times?
I've been elected 5
times. 5 times. Yeah. What do you enjoy most about the county commission?
Being able to address the situations that are really helpful to people, and keeping it within balance of the budget and so forth.
Yeah.
So I just, I come from a really humble background, Mike.
Yeah, you grew up East Tennessee, didn't you?
Over in Dunlap.
Oh, that's right.
If the listeners will just bear with me just a minute.
Yeah.
Talking about my humble background. Yeah. My dad was a coal miner in Kentucky, and we lived in a house that belonged to the coal company. He got paid off in the script. That was his credit card for the store, for his electricity, rent, groceries, and everything else. I was the 9th of 9 children, 7 boys and 2 girls, and 7 of us survived. I had a brother that was stillborn, and then a brother that was 16 months old when he passed away. But the 4 brothers and the 2 sisters, with the 4 brothers and me, I was the baby, of course, with their military records and so forth and so on, Of course, I was the last one, and this is a funny little story. I was born at home, and the coal company doctor delivered me. Okay, my full name is Paul Brooks Johnson. I tell everybody, I said my family was so poor at that time with 9 children, you know.
Yeah.
I said they named me after the doctor that delivered me. They couldn't even afford a name.
Really?
But
Wow.
no, I have really been
Yeah.
fortunate. But back to the military, my 4 brothers and I have got a combined total of 52 years military service.
Really? What branch you?
I was in the Army.
Army.
I was a doughboy.
Yeah, yeah. My sister, just talked to her last night. We're talking a little bit about, well, she was talking to my wife a little about what happened yesterday with Donald Trump, you know, and I couldn't share what she shared, but she was up for Soldier of the Year, I think, in '86. Sadly, she just went through breast cancer, but they've called her back up to train air traffic controllers, and thought that was interesting. And I asked her how long she was going to be in Oklahoma, and she said, I'm not sure, you know, how long she's however long the military needs me, I'm gonna be here. But you know, you and I served for 8 years. We always got along good. I never
did.
remember an argument.
No, hey, and I enjoyed it, and
I can't say that about Gary Farley though.
Okay.
You ever had any arguments with Gary Farley?
Yeah, but I'm glad
We had a lot of arguments.
I'm
Gary.
glad
If Gary's listening, we love you,
glad
Gary.
you're where you are now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, Gary, you know, we did that, and Keith helped me. We did that proclamation, surprise Gary, and Jim Tracy helped me, and what's the Cunningham?
Yeah,
Pedigree,
Ken Honeycutt,
Honeycutt. Kent,
the fire marshal.
Kenneth Honeycutt.
yeah, and it was really, man, that guy's really got a story to tell, man. And I like to share the story that his son, is it Ben?
Ben Honeycutt.
And I
that's
always
correct.
go to the firefighters reception at usually Municipal Auditorium, and they've got Uncle Bud's catfish, and it, you know, when you feed people, they'll usually show up. And it's one of the few receptions I even go to, and I'll go, and I always want to hear what the firefighters got to say, and I'm always asking about trauma, you know, among firefighters, and trauma among police officers, you know, concern me and several others. And I asked this young guy, I said, man, what do you do to just decompress after a shift, you know? Man, I was so touched. You know what that guy said? Don't say what he said, Keith. You know what this guy said? How he decompresses? He said, sometimes I call my mom. I was like, oh my gosh. You know, my mom's been dead a year and a half, and I thought, wow, this tough firefighter, man, I call my mom. You know, because this is serious stuff. I mean, just coming back, Keith's told me some stories which we wouldn't probably share on the air, but it's coming back. I was asking about road projects, and looked up at 840, and I see some Tracos up. I see a lot of T-Dot equipment, and I remember what you told me about that guy that you know, jumped off the bridge and killed himself. And
Oh yeah.
he didn't measure the rope properly. He was supposed to hang himself and put a rope around his neck and hit the asphalt. But think of the trauma that you guys have seen, and you as a trooper. Oddly enough, 2 weeks ago, our show was a retired. Well, no, he's still the chaplain with Sheriff's Department back in forgot what county that is, East Tennessee County, and Representative Lowell Russell, who serves with me, was in a terrible car wreck,
absolutely.
almost dead. Lowell couldn't call in because he had some dental work done. He wanted to call in, but he's got a book out they've co-authored called Trial by Fire, and all they've seen on the roads. I think he said he's had to contact, man, if it wasn't 200 families, it was 100 families that they've lost loved ones.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I couldn't imagine dealing with that. But on the road projects, I know I was telling Keith to remind me about Week Lane. I appreciate the widening that y'all done on Week Lane. You know, there's a terrible car wreck with them young boys, and one of them was killed. It was a horrific wreck. I don't want to say what all happened to them, but those boys, I think they borrowed somebody's car or something, and that real terrible curve right there before Living Springs Baptist Church, y'all widened it. You know, y'all widen it a little more, and it really looks good.
Yeah, widen
you know?
Weekly Lane. Then, you know, we also went in, you know, the state and stuff. We redid the bridge down there
Yeah,
at Fate Sanders, so that really needed to be done. So that
we used to jump off that.
All that's been improved. Right.
You ever jumped off that bridge?
No.
We used to jump off when I was a kid. Looking back, I'm like, man, I can't believe we done crazy, stupid stuff like that. You know, guess you get a little wiser when you get a little older. What do you like most about what do you like least about the county commission? Don't name any names.
Oh, okay. Sometimes it's frustrating that
Don't talk about the state of Tennessee.
no.
I'm teasing.
Sometimes it's frustrating that, and I'm not gonna call any names,
Yeah.
but they seem to not be able to grasp the whole picture.
Yeah.
And I got to say this before we get any further.
Yeah.
I've had the privilege of working with Keith and David Victor, and Bular. Okay, and with our combined years of service, and right now, year-wise, I'm the senior member of the road board. But you're talking about 80 years of experience on
Wow.
the road board with us 4 members.
Wow.
But no, it's a little bit frustrating. But I tell this story, and I'm not. My father-in-law was a Baptist preacher, and he had this little funny saying: says, "He who tooteth not his own horn, it shall go untooted."
Yeah.
And I'm not patting myself on the back, but when last year in the heavy tax increase, the vote was 13 yes and 8 no. And everybody that's familiar with this Western movie, The Magnificent Seven,
Oh.
I refer to me and the other 7, the 8 that voted no for the tax increase. I refer to us as the Magnificent 8 that voted no on the tax increase.
Well, we've been through some of those rocky times when I was on public. Gary and I were kidding here recently. We did the proclamation live on the radio, but Gary's helped me on several issues, helping the community back home, and have a lot of respect for Gary, as well as Jim Tracy. Well, all the Farleys. Larry's done a great job, and Alan. Alan's got, he's going to have a difficult job next few weeks.
Yes.
Being the election director. But Keith, what about you? You've been on the road board how many years?
22.
22.
Yep.
Well, you're on the beer board.
I am. I've been on there 30 years.
30 years.
Yep.
Well, you helped me. I think Paul knew that. You helped me go after some dope dealers. You want
Absolutely.
to talk about that?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, back when I very first got on the beer board, I guess then I had a younger son, and I think worried about that, and I think some of the community got with Truman Jones was sheriff back then, and I think we had some issues in the county then about beer being sold to minors from markets and stuff, and then so anyway, he created like a little task force, and they were going in doing beer stings at these markets on periodically and stuff. So then as a beer board, we had served with a lot of different people over the years. Some of them are still Jerry Sartain's one of them's been there a long time, and anyway, so we just really wanted to tighten down on beer being sold to minors, and then anyway, they still do that, and I know came to part of a lot of markets started doing some of the synthetic drugs,
weed,
and all that stuff,
K2,
and
all that stuff.
I remember you bringing that to my attention, and we started doing some stings.
Oh,
and
we
stuff.
knocked HELL out of those guys.
Yeah, and then we brought them before us, and we doled out the.
Who was that guy? Because you started pulling all their licenses.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who was that one guy? I think he's passed. The guy said, "I'm so confused." He was. Remember that guy? I can't do his accent, but remember what he?
Yeah, he was. And his name escapes me right now, but
Not the dope dealer.
Yeah,
the guy on the road board.
yeah, he's since passed. Mike Avery.
Yeah.
And
you remember what he said?
Yeah, well, I remember he laid out a $20 bill, 10, 5, and asked him if he could identify what those bills were, and the guy said, so he told him, you don't have no problem with identifying the
Yeah,
money.
you don't have a problem with the money, but you can sell all this dope to these kids, can't you?
Absolutely.
I wish I could have maybe thanked him a little more. Mike Avery, was that his name?
Mike Avery, yes.
Where was he from? Here, Murfreesboro?
He was. Yeah, he was. He had like a electrician company for all those years.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was on
That
there for
always
quite a
meant a
while.
lot, because that's how you hit him is you hit him in that wallet, man.
Oh yeah.
We got that one guy. In fact, his wife didn't like me calling him out on radio, so I won't say his name. But he knew what he was doing, and it's sad that people turn a blind eye. And I'll be honest with you, I approached the guy and I called law on him, and I'm just being honest. The cop didn't know what I was talking about. I said, "Man, talk to this guy about synthetic drugs." He said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "You know what synthetic drugs are?" He said, "No." I remember the sergeant called me. He's like, "Hey man, can we're training these guys. Like, let them know. I was like, Poison Control Center calls it increased 1,300%.
Yeah, well,
True story, 1,300% on because of that epidemic that was going on with the K2.
Yeah, and I really, when you talked to me about it, I wasn't real informed on synthetic drugs, but started to deal with them. When I was from the fire department standpoint, we started making some calls and some young people and seeing how they were disoriented and stuff. Kind of find out, they were on a lot of the.
My mother was the first one to tell me about this. She heard about it in Florida, and they'd been down there visiting Florida. She was taught what they used to call it, bath salts.
Yeah, and Molly's plant food, and it was several different.
Oh
names.
man, there had people that some were probably permanently damaged, but we had market owners right here. What y'all? I think it was law enforcement TBI called it Operations Snuff.
I think that's correct.
But the Lord handled that deal. I remember calling the detective, and he says, "Let me have a guy call you." And it was Attorney General. He said, "Man, he said, if you need to hold tight, we've already got that guy. I'm not supposed to tell you, but we've done an undercover investigation. We picked your county out of 95. You hold tight, we got him." They would call me back because one of my family members got involved in this stuff, man. Right. When you feel pain, it's a great motivator. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Most people know that their insurance can provide them with coverage for the many life's mishaps. But I can help you also unlock discounts, save money, and get benefits with Farmers Insurance policy perks. Whether we're discussing home or auto insurance, I am here to help you understand these great perks. Call me, Mark Lewis, at 615-625-7070 for a quote, and you can get a whole lot of something with Farmers policy perks.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Not available in every state. Only available with select Farmers branded policies underwritten by Farmers Truck or Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliates.
Dr. Automotive Auto Repair and Maintenance Mechanic Shop Garage provides car owners in Smyrna, Murfreesboro, Laverne, and the Middle Tennessee area with excellent auto repair services. Deep-rooted experience in serving both foreign and domestic automobiles allows for proper diagnosis in a timely manner. Check them out online at autorepairsmyrna.com, call them at 615-220-0971, or stop on in at 1205 Hazelwood Drive in Smyrna.
Hello and buenos dias. I'm Lisette Lopez, your bilingual real estate agent at Keller Williams Murfreesboro. I specialize in helping you make informed decisions that align with your goals. I'm offering free classes from how to fix your credit to investing to create generational wealth. Start your real estate journey with Lisette Lopez today. Call me at 954-552-4932. The number again is 954-552-4932. Or browse my website at lopezsellstn.kw.com. Thank you.
My wife and I enjoy going by Yard Sale Inc. We usually go to both locations, the one in Smyrna as well as the one in Murfreesboro. A lot of times on Saturday mornings we stop by, and their inventory changes weekly, so you never know what you're going to see, and it's mostly open box. The name fits it. It's exactly that. It's a yard sale. If you don't totally agree with the price, the staff is always friendly and nice and willing to work with you.
That's the Yard Sale Store in Smyrna at 111 Enon Springs Road West, in Murfreesboro at 204 South Front Street, and online at bestdealintown.com.
AFFI is Middle Tennessee's premier choice for pest, wildlife, and moisture control. They specialize in those difficult and unique cases. You can reach them by phone at 615-300-2395. That's 615-300-2395. Or stop in at 200 Glenrose Lane in Smyrna.
Hey, Middle Tennessee, it's Mark from the Safe House. And now the security riddle of the day. What's less secure than a fake safe from a big box or furniture store? Joe Biden's fake border policy, of course. But hey, there is good news. This time next year, Joe Biden will not be president. So drop by the Safe House and check out the largest selection of safes in the Southeast. Build a wall around your valuables with a safe from the Safe House. We have certified delivery crews to deliver and install your safe. Don't let a crackhead or illegal deliver your safe. With over 30 years in the safe business, the Safe House is the place to buy a safe in Tennessee. So go to NashvilleSafeHouse.com.
All right, we're back. Conversation with Mike Sparks. We've got Paul Johnson in the studio and Keith Bradshaw. I was just asking Jackson if he can play some Motley Crue or something, AC/DC, but we're not allowed to play it anymore. They'll kick the video off, is what they say. But that last commercial, that's Mark Safe. Mark from the Safe House, Brassfield, is going to come on here in a few. I've asked Mark if he can kind of make a really sweet commercial and kind of tone it down a little bit. So I'm wondering what that will sound like. But I think we've got a caller. Caller, go ahead. Hey, caller.
Yes, can you hear me?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well. This is Greg Brooks. I just want to call in and say hi to all three of you and say that, I really appreciate all your service. Mike, I know you've been a public servant your whole life, and nobody can dispute the fact that Keith Bratcher and Paul Johnson have also. So I think that there's a lot to be said for that.
Well, I was thanking you for widening a weak lane. You knew about the young boys, the one that was killed and the others that were didn't really get hurt, but you had a heart for that. And I know these road projects do take a while to get done. And this growth, I know y'all have got a lot of challenges out there trying to keep up with all the folks that want to move here.
Well, there's no question about that. The traffic volume is something that we will always be behind on, unfortunately. Our road system just hasn't kept up with the growth.
Yes.
I mean, that growth is just outpacing all the infrastructure that in the county. But so, it just depends on how you look at that, whether that's good or bad. It's good to have growth, but at the same time, it needs to be sustainable growth.
Yes.
And I think, just so everyone knows, the road board, which obviously Keith and Paul are both on the board, but the road board is there. It's a 7-member board, and they're there to approve the spending of the highway department. So what that means is they approve the annual operating budget, and then during the year, which they meet monthly, but during the year, they also will approve they will award bids. We might bid a state aid project, or we might bid something from a vendor like rock or asphalt or metal pipe or something like that. So those bids are something that they approve too. They award those bids, and they also, always there to pass along the comments and the concerns of their constituents in their respective zones. So they're a vital road to the highway department. There's no doubt about it.
Yes. Well, I appreciate y'all's efforts. I know I was asking Keith if you could come in. I'm going to have, Paul and Keith on next week, and I was hoping maybe you can come in the studio if you could, or maybe call in. And I think next week we're going to do a whole hour of nothing but road projects and some of the great things that's happening in Rutherford County. Jefferson Pike's finally being widened, and I've talked to folks, and you've talked to folks who've lost loved ones, and it really it saddens you, but by the same token, it makes you want to improve that dangerous intersection, or fight for that red light, or fight for that road project being widened. And as a county commissioner, I remember we had that fatality over there in the, what's that little community, the one that the little girl got run over, going towards Woodbury, back in there.
You're talking about Brayville Road?
Yeah, back in, I remember when that happened, and Robert P. and some of y'all fought tirelessly to get that approved. If you can, I know you may not be able to make it to the studio, Greg, but you're welcome to come in next week if you can.
I'll certainly keep that open, and I'll try to do just that. Okay. You mentioned something about Jefferson Pike, and I think that's one thing that I have come to realize since I've been in office. I've been in office now almost 12 years, but when I was out campaigning the first time, people just do not understand, most people do not understand what the county highway department's responsibilities are.
Yeah.
And that is, to maintain the county road system. So if it's a state route, or if it is, a municipality like a city, then we don't. That's not our responsibility. That would be the state or the other governing body. We have, I think, Paul can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's roughly 976 miles of county roads and I don't have a road book in front of me, but roughly 300 of those miles are subdivision roads, and the remaining 600 and change are rural county roads.
Yeah.
So that's what we're responsible for. And we try not to only to be a maintenance department or program. We try to be an improvement program too when we can, and that goes back to what you were talking about on putting additional shoulders on Weekly Lane. We've done that literally on miles and miles of our county roads, and I think that's one of the things. It's one of the most important things I think we can do is get a little bit of extra room for correction. If you pass that white line, get distracted or just for whatever reason, avoiding lane departures on these rural roads, that's how we save lives.
Yes. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay. Since I got Greg on the phone here, I think he knows how much I respect him and everything, but I have the number of miles is 983.647. That's on, and I try to remember that because when you multiply that, when you're resurfacing, that's 2 lanes. So look how many miles. And I will say this: I've had the privilege of serving with Greg for 12 years. Yeah. He's a businessman, and he is fantastic. Yeah. He knows. I'm by him like a fellow was by me one time. He said, if you told me that a rooster could pull a train, he said, I just look for them hitching it up. So that's the way it is with Greg. Yeah. If he tells you that, you can take it to the bank.
Greg, I don't take this wrong way. I know you're a very mild-mannered person.
Absolutely.
Greg's very low-key, but I do appreciate you always being attentive to listen to my concerns and others' concerns when folks call. I'm not just saying that to make you look good. I'm being honest. I won't say any names of any other people, but I can remember Florence Road on Nashville Highway. My wife was in a terrible car wreck right there, and she still has trauma. The car, it was about almost flipped over, and that was before all the improvements that y'all have made over the years. So, anybody that's went through Florence and on Nashville Highway knows how terrible that whole area was. But I appreciate y'all and your efforts. Greg, I'm gonna give you last words. Go ahead.
Oddly enough, Mike, we are currently working on Old Nashville Highway. I spent 2 days at the end of last week in that intersection of Florence Road and Old Nashville Highway. It's a state aid project, so we bid that out, and the contractor that was awarded the project started that Wednesday of last week. So that's probably an area you want to avoid for the next few days.
Exactly.
It's going to be there's going to be some long delays.
Yeah, go ahead, Paul.
Traffic.
I've got one other thing.
Yeah.
You talk about conservative. The budget for this year for the highway department is 15% less than what it was last year. So now you talk about being a businessman and taking care of business. You got it.
Yeah. Well, that area, Greg, do you remember me calling y'all about December? I tore up my car right there at Chicken Pike where that road got cut down. It wasn't y'all's fault. It was the developer's fault. But anyways, my Impala, I've got $2,400 worth of damage. Yeah. And if I can still drive it, but even the trooper, when I pull in the Capitol making fun of my car, I'm going to find a used bumper that's the same color, and I'm going to swap it out. I'm not turning in my insurance, but I'm not even going to bother the guy with it. But a little widow, and she called me complaining about the road when I pulled up, when I left out, boom, tore up in front of my car. So you got to be real careful. Well, Greg, if you can, plan on calling in next week, okay?
I will.
All right.
I will.
Thank you so much for calling, brother.
Thank you, and thank you, Paul and Keith, for being in my corner.
Hey, it's a pleasure.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just say one thing real quick, Mike. I know Greg's already got off the phone. I hope he's still listening. But anyway, I'll kind of second what Paul said. Served with Mike, was the other superintendent when I first got on road board, but been serving with Greg the last 12 years. And, yeah, he's all business. He really knows roads and stuff. I think
is that all he's into, roads? Has he got any hobbies or anything?
Well, I'm sure he does. But, I mean, he had, I think, a paving business and stuff like that personally before he became.
He's got the experience. No doubt.
And every time I'm always on here, I always I get people say, hey, Keith, I appreciate you paving the road in our area or whatever, but I wish I could take that credit. But I'm like, Paul, I can't, because I always tell people it's the men at
Yeah,
that highway department, and women. I don't want to leave them
Yep.
out. We have in the office there. They all do a great job, and I brag on them all the time about how efficient they are. And kind of second what Paul said, we just did our budget. I think we were $2 million. He said 15%, but I think the exact number is about $2 million less this year than it was last year. So we take care of business. We're real frugal, and we.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. We're going to have y'all up next week for a whole show, talk about road board and other things that y'all have got going on. And who's the guy that you've invited that y'all been talking real highly of?
Michael Anderson.
Yeah, and there's another guy you talked real highly of that
Keith Elrod.
Yeah.
They both serve on the road
And
board.
Michael Anderson, what's his nickname?
Well, his middle name is Vular. That's what we call it, Michael Vular Anderson.
That's his real name?
That's it. Yeah. That's
and he's the first African American to be elected road board in Rutherford County history.
That's correct.
Yeah. Anyways, looking forward if he can make it. Well, thank you so much, guys.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
Jackson, we can take a quick 2-minute break when we transition with Mark Brassfield and Christopher Alford. Be right back, folks.
Most people know that their insurance can provide them with coverage for the many life's mishaps. But I can help you also unlock discounts, save money, and get benefits with Farmers Insurance policy perks. Whether we're discussing home or auto insurance, I am here to help you understand these great perks. Call me, Mark Lewis, at 615-625-7070 for a quote, and you can get a whole lot of something with Farmers policy perks.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Not available in every state. Only available with select Farmers branded policies underwritten by Farmers Truck or Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliates.
Dr. Automotive Auto Repair and Maintenance Mechanic Shop Garage provides car owners in Smyrna, Murfreesboro, Laverne, and the Middle Tennessee area with excellent auto repair services. Deep-rooted experience in serving both foreign and domestic automobiles allows for proper diagnosis in a timely manner. Check them out online at autoropairsmyrna.com, call them at 615-220-0971, or stop on in at 1205 Hazelwood Drive in Smyrna.
AFFI is Middle Tennessee's premier choice for pest, wildlife, and moisture control. They specialize in those difficult and unique cases. You can reach them by phone at 615-300-2395. That's 615-300-2395. Or stop in at 200 Glenrose Lane in Smyrna.
When I say VFW, you probably have some visions of a smoke-filled bar with a bunch of old-timers eyeballing you. Well, the Stones River VFW is doing things different. No smoke-filled rooms, no turning prospective members away, and a strong emphasis on camaraderie and community. We believe in instilling our American values in our young people through numerous programs such as Voice of Democracy, Patriots Pen, Scout of the Year, and VFW Teacher of the Year. Stones River Post intends on becoming a driving force to help, aid, and assist wartime veterans. So if you're one of those veterans with a campaign medal and you want that sense of purpose that you've been missing, then give our recruiter, Andrew Farr, a call at 615-490-5715.
Hey, Middle Tennessee, it's Mark from the Safe House. And now the security riddle of the day. What's less secure than a fake safe from a big box or furniture store? Joe Biden's fake border policy, of course. But hey, there is good news. This time next year, Joe Biden will not be president. So drop by the Safe House and check out the largest selection of safes in the Southeast. Build a wall around your valuables with a safe from the Safe House. We have certified delivery crews to deliver and install your safe. Don't let a crackhead or illegal deliver your safe. With over 30 years in the safe business, the Safe House is the place to buy a safe in Tennessee. So go to NashvilleSafeHouse.com.
All right, we're back. Conversation with Mike Sparks. I've got Mark Brassfield on the Safe House and Christopher Alford, owner of the Southern Bunker. How y'all doing?
Wonderful.
Doing good.
Man, commercial's hard hitting, ain't it?
The truth.
You get any
truth.
complaints? How many calls you get a week?
Not from people who buy safes from me.
And I think Chris here has bought a couple safes.
Oh yeah, yeah. The ones we use at the shop are all came from the safe.
So y'all had already met prior to this show.
Well, I've actually done dealings with
some of
the others, the crew that are there.
Yeah.
But
so he don't
directly.
come on site. He don't come on site and help deliver.
So the first safe we got, we chose to deliver ourselves because I had access to some good equipment to do it ourselves. But the second time I was actually away from the shop when they delivered. My wife dealt with all that. So.
Yeah. How's sales? Everything good?
Yes, but they're down.
Down.
Just like a lot of businesses.
Well, yeah.
You know. But yeah, we're doing fine. Yeah.
Bidenomics.
Yeah, it's working so well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But sales up 5 years ago, they're up from 5 years ago. As far if you compare
yeah,
year to
because
year.
I'm a larger company now.
Yeah, you
but I
own,
mean,
what,
if
3?
status quo, yes, 3 stores. But no, I mean the business is not what it was.
Yeah.
I mean it's definitely down, and I mean a lot of other business owners know whether it's guns or safes or whatever, they're down too. So I mean this economy is not doing real well.
Exactly. You know, I was talking to somebody at Rotary today. I think it was our president, Judy King, who gave a great speech the other day at Rotary. She's just started her presidency. She mentioned, I think Bobby Hopkins, our former president. I think he had some gun safes just for his cell phones. Do you see many people that'll just lock up? They're not even locking up guns; they're locking up business equipment.
Well, anything that's valuable. I mean,
Yeah.
safes are good for anything from pictures to money to guns to whatever's valuable or sentimental to you to protect.
Important documents, that sort of thing.
Well, you you had a bad situation last month?
Yeah, back in May.
Yeah.
They had a smash and grab, which unfortunately has been going around in the Middle Tennessee area. But thankfully the security we had and everything could have been a lot worse, but there were some other shops that it was worse for. So we were blessed to not have it be as bad as it could have been, I guess.
Yeah, you and I just met. Roger Thomas had entered. He'd been talking about you, talking really highly of, because your background, you were a gunsmith by trade. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm a gunsmith by
how'd
trade.
How'd you get involved in that?
Just passionate about guns, and I love knowing how things work.
Yeah.
So, and I just like to do things with my hands. Musician in my childhood, and just dad who's a contractor and does construction and.
So you play music as well?
Yeah.
Oh, what do you play?
So pretty much anything with strings or that's percussion based, I can at least pick at a little bit. I'm not by any means a master, but
he's a drummer.
Well, I ain't a master either, Mike.
Well, you're not a musician, but you're a drummer. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, I'm a musician per se, but I'm multi, instrumental, that sort of thing.
What about you, Mark?
I can fly planes inverted. If
oh,
you
that's
want
right.
to.
You're a former pilot.
Well, former.
Well,
I mean, it's like riding a bicycle. I can still do it.
How did you see that close call of the day between them? I forgot what airport that was, and place. I mean, almost.
That wasn't a close call.
It wasn't a close call. Okay.
It shouldn't have happened, but no, it was. It looked worse on the film than it was. Yeah.
You ever seen a plane sit still in the air because of the wind?
Like a helicopter?
No, the airplane. I remember my sister.
Well, they're not really sitting still in the wind. It's ground speed.
Well, the wind was so strong where the plane's like just barely moving. It was a little set.
But he's still moving through the air. It's ground speed. Because if I'm flying 50 miles an hour and the wind is 50 miles an hour, I'm going 0 over the ground, but I'm still going 50 miles through the air.
That's interesting.
Yeah, we can do another show on that if you want.
Okay.
Yeah. That you're getting into a really
exactly.
Yeah. Well, we could talk about this all day.
Do you miss?
Let's talk about gun shops
we
and guns
will.
and safes and stuff. You want to do that?
Well, how did you segue into the gun? I mean, the safe business from
it was from aviation.
Really?
Oh yeah. I was working for. I'll make this really quick.
Yeah.
I was working for American Eagle here in town. I was making a whopping $1,400 a month flying when
What
I
year?
first started. That was in the late 80s.
Yeah.
And then we're pilot negotiations, blah, blah, blah. We're going to go on strike. I thought I was going to be out of a job. Went to a gun show.
Show.
And a guy was selling safes. Told him, hey, I'm looking for something to do. He goes, hey, why don't you sell gun safes? And 2 weeks later, I was selling gun safes. 31 years later, here I am. So.
Wow. Been that long?
31 years. Man. 31 years, 4 months.
Now,
4 days
I've been at your office a few times, and you sell not just, you sell boat gun safes, you sell the secured doors. What do you call those?
Yeah, vault doors.
Vault doors.
Storm and security doors, storm shelters. We do above ground storm shelters. Yep. Do any kind of safe. And we were discussing this earlier. A safe is a safe. It doesn't matter what you put in it. It could be a gun safe, jewelry safe, money safe, any
What's
safe.
your favorite? Can you say what's your favorite brand? Yeah, favorite brand. Mm-hmm.
Well, my favorite brand that my customers pick the most of are Browning.
Yeah.
But Fort Knox makes an excellent safe. Liberty, they make a good safe. I carry 10 different brands. But Browning by far I sell the most of, and that's not because I necessarily push them. It's what my customers choose.
Yeah.
Which is important.
Christopher, what'd you buy, if you don't mind me asking, when you purchased from Mark?
Browning.
Brownie.
Yeah. And Pro Steel makes Brownie.
Which I've got other brand safes, but they just, to me, it came down to the capacity I needed, the quality I needed, price point, kind of a mix of all of them.
Yeah.
So I'm not loyal to any specific brand of safe as long as it's proven to be good quality.
Yeah. The break-in, I don't know, I know you really bragged on Smyrna law enforcement.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah. We couldn't ask for a better response from them as far as from the time they were notified to the time they showed up on scene. I'd heard about some of the other shops before and after that took definitely substantially longer, but you're talking, my wife and I live very close in general to where it is, so they had already gotten there by the time we got there, and he said it's just if they had been in our shop even just a few seconds longer, they wouldn't have been able to get away.
Really?
Because Smyrna PD was on top of it.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to know. I mean, have you ever? I mean, where you're at, I would think, Mark, you'd have a break-in or two on 4th Avenue South, correct? Have you ever had any trouble?
Not luckily. I mean, my store's very secure, and breaking into a safe shop would be pretty stupid anyway.
Exactly.
But no, but I mean, 4th Avenue has really improved through the years. It used to be really bad, but now it's it's pretty good. But you still lock your stuff up. But one thing I wanted to mention, we were talking about this about who's breaking in and stuff.
Yeah.
I've had a rash of folks coming in finding game cameras and stuff in their yards. So these criminals are putting these game cameras, cell cameras, in the people's yards and watching their activities, and then they're seeing when they're not at home, and then they're breaking into their house when they're not there.
Wow.
So, and that hasn't been reported at all in the media, and it's because of this border policy that's going on.
I was going to say, wasn't you told, Christopher, this was some gangs from Venezuela that
so
were
they actually
coordinated?
One of the other shops that ended up getting broke into, they apprehended some of the suspects, and they were actually underage illegals from I believe it was Argentina,
South America.
Yeah, from South America. So that's been happening, not just with gun shops, with other businesses as well. It's just South American gangs getting through into our country, unfortunately, and unfortunately they're using minors in a lot of it because of just the I guess what they perceive as the consequence for the minors is going to be totally different than it would be for adults. So they're like, oh yeah, we'll use you for that kind of stuff, and you won't see the same kind of consequences we would as from those who are adults.
Yeah, it's just sad where you think see the country changing. Now let's talk about your event, Sam Davis Home. Why did you choose Sam Davis Home? Just curious.
So really we were trying to look for something that was going to be big enough to kind of sustain our event, and the Smyrna Independent Merchants Association, SIMA, had told us to reach out to Sam Davis Home, see if they'd be interested, and so I went, talked with, I believe her name's Jenny, who runs the place. Just had a good conversation with her, told her what we were doing. She told us about what the Sam Davis Home was and kind of what their mission was, and it felt like a good fit. One local business to another local place. And
so if folks wanted to put a booth up or set up, you're okay with that? I mean,
we're still looking for. We've had a ton, especially in the last probably 2 weeks, a ton of people reaching out to us looking to be vendors. But we're still looking for vendors, still looking for sponsors. Because it's going to be a big day, just fun, family, kid activities, a lot of giveaways, food, music. We're going to have some safety speakers out there, not just gun related, but fire related. We're going to have law enforcement there. We're going to have the National Guard there. Just different people talking about different levels of safety and just keeping the community safe.
Have you y'all talk about getting the pickers, some of the guys to come out? I believe it was Derek Rayburn, Paul Lamb, and some other guys that play over at Sam Davis Home. Has he said anything to you about that? They play, maybe if Roger's listening, he can text me. I think I don't know if it's every other Tuesday or every other Wednesday, or but it might be something to do. You know, they they come out. We had an event over there in January, a big chili cook-off and history series of Smyrna and Old Jefferson. They come out and played that morning. We had a prayer breakfast. Did you make it, Mark? I think
I didn't get to go.
I think I invited you. But great event. You know, just a lot of history there, and I think they just won some award by TripAdvisor or something like that. You know, but a lot of history out there at that old home. Are you going to set up booth, Mark?
Yeah, we got to talk about it. Yeah.
Good. How do you? I mean, do you move a safe? Do you bring a safe to a event? So, well, you got that giant safe.
Well, the Big Red Safe, yeah.
Yeah.
BigRedSafe.com.
Where'd that come from?
Actually, Champion Safe Company makes them. It used to be the big yellow safe, and we turned it into the big red safe. So.
Now, do you keep that on site
at my shop? Yeah.
Okay, you don't worry about it.
I didn't. He just educated me. I didn't realize that was a real safe.
How would you like that call on a police radio scanner?
Hey, you never know. You never know about people.
That would be terrific.
I know. But you never know about people today. Some of these criminals and all. It would be funny. How large a safe is that one?
6 by 10.
So is that the largest safe in Tennessee?
Yeah, actually it is.
I thought
it actually is, yes.
That.
Thank you for mentioning that.
On your commercial, I was kidding you earlier if you're going to be able to behave and not get too fired up about what happened yesterday.
Well, the truth. I mean, my spots are the truth. I don't, you know, and then the analogy I use, the older I get, the less I can remember. So if I tell a lie, then I have to remember what I lied to you about. So I'm just going to tell you the truth.
Well, you get fired up and passionate. I was kidding you about how do we make a really sweet gun safe commercial.
Sweet.
Like really calm, mellow.
I had a guy ask me to do like a really kind of calm commercial about
the
storm
irony
shelters.
would be funny.
And I was like, the irony of it.
Yeah, people hear you on this station or the other station you're at Nashville.
That's kind of funny.
And all of a sudden it was like the milder, tamer, calmer.
The milder, tamer Mark. Wow. I would have to
Who's your contact over Dan Mandis? Who's the contact with that other station?
For the other station?
With the commercials.
Well, I have a rep. Her name's Laura.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you dealt with Dan.
Oh, well, I mean, I know all those guys.
Good people.
They are good. 997 is fine. Yeah.
They really are. You know,
they are. But I mean, I started out with the Obama Safe Special was the beginning of my.
Was he the best gun safe seller for you?
Actually, Joe Biden has been. Joe Biden was my Employee of the Year for 2021.
Really?
Yep, we did a big special about him.
You're kidding, but you're really
no, I'm really
serious.
being serious. And as much as I like Donald Trump, I called it the Trump slump. But my shelter and gun safe sales and all that were good. They were very good, but they were kind of flat. And then Biden got elected, and it was like Elon Musk shooting a rocket.
Yeah, you like Elon?
I really like visionary.
Oh man, that dude is just a trooper. Real quick, before we take the caller, often one thing I want to do about this show is I kind of want to tie it into faith, and sometimes we don't get to those things. But I contacted you. What was it? 3 years ago? I heard your commercials.
Yeah.
And I called you and I said I was asked to carry the gun safe bill. Remember what you told me about it?
Oh yeah.
Remember what you said?
I'm sure you'll remind me.
You said y'all have done a crappy job of trying to present that bill. You remember what you said?
Well, it wasn't you.
Well, it wasn't me.
It wasn't you, and I won't mention who didn't do a good job.
Yeah.
But I did learn the term bill jacking. Remember the bill jacking
guy? Oh, yeah,
guy?
Somebody tried to
That was
be
so funny. Yeah, so I
sarcastic.
know what bill jacking is.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, it's like I told that guy, I said, well, you never could pass it. We're fixing to pass it,
That's
though,
it.
and we
That's
passed
it.
it.
I mean, and I elevate you to the level of above other people because you're the one that helped get it passed.
Well,
so,
I'm going to tell you what got it passed. You and I prayed over that bill, didn't we? You remember that? And I asked you, you a believer?
Yeah.
And I do that
of
a lot.
course I'm a believer.
Well, I didn't know if you're a believer or not, and you said, yeah, and we prayed over that bill. But in all fairness, Bob Freeman, Democrat, helped us, and so did Chris Todd help us. Because when Bob spoke up on the bill, I was like, oh, man, he's going to say something about your commercials. He's going to take issue. And Bob bought a gun safe from you.
Yeah.
So it was a bipartisan bill, but I'm going to tell you, it was the power of prayer that got that done. We got a caller. Caller, go ahead.
Hey, Mike. It's Marty. I just listened to the show.
Hey, Marty, have you got to meet Chris or Mark yet?
Not in person, just over the radio. And
my buddy Marty Luffman.
Oh, yeah, Marty. Yeah. I want to meet Marty. Marty, I need to come
we
meet
need
you.
to one day.
Yeah.
Well, you were going to come to Alice Rowley's event that he had over
yeah.
there.
I'll follow you on Facebook, Marty.
Okay.
What is that thing you do? The insignificant something, when you post?
Insignificant, worthless historical history.
Yeah, I love that. I wait for that every time you post that to go look at.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Good.
The reason I call it that, and I've had people, comment, why you do that? Why? Because it's not. I said, when's the last time you talked about it? When's it ever come up in conversation?
Right.
And that's the reason it's insignificant. Nobody ever talks about it. So it's an eye catcher. I just use it for that. But I really appreciate you following me. I do.
Well, yeah. I do look forward to it to read what insignificant thing you're going to post. I mean,
Well, hey Marty, while we got you on the air, tell these folks up here what you used to do on horseback and some of your exploits, whether it's in Middle Tennessee or out west.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was a competition shooter. I did rodeos, and we would go out into an arena with 10 targets and 2 pistols, and we'd try to go out as fast as we could and shoot everything and come out as fast as we could. And I'm really proud. I rode a Tennessee walking horse against all those big quarter horses out west, and my horse, his name is Doc Holliday, he and I were 3 times world national champions.
And you still have that horse today, don't you?
I do.
Now, what was that nickname somebody gave you that time? Remember I seen that video? Remember that?
Oh, are you talking about when I fell off?
Yeah, what was that nickname that guy gave you?
We don't need.
Don't use no profanity now. He fall
I don't
off.
think Marty wants to answer that one.
He don't. But you did a quick a jiu-jitsu roll, man. It was pretty cool. Got back up on your feet. It was really pretty cool. Post that video on Facebook, Marty, if you can find it.
They call that the tuck and roll.
The tuck and roll. There you go.
It's where you drop your shoulder.
No, that was cool. I liked it.
So when you go off the horse, you drop your shoulder and ball up, and you keep rolling until gravity stops you.
What'd you do with the gun, though?
What did I do with what?
With the gun, with the pistol, do you tuck it under your arm and roll with that, or what'd you do?
Yeah, I tucked it.
That's pretty cool.
I want to see the video of that.
Yeah, share that video, Marty. Don't be embarrassed.
Maybe that'll be your next insignificant video you could post.
That was pretty cool.
They made fun of me. They mocked me and laughed at me and all this other stuff.
Well, I always
kind of embarrassing.
talk about faith. I've often shared this on the air. When I first met Marty, he was big shot around town, and I went in to get some car insurance in my hot rod '68 Camaro and 12 bolt.
When I threw you out of my office,
He kicked me out of his office. He goes, "What's he doing here?" And his assistant goes, "He'd like to get some car insurance." He goes, "We ain't insuring him." Like, he was crazy. He said, "We ain't insuring." And man, I'm gonna tell you that I'm not gonna use the bad language on the radio, but man, it made me mad for years. And I said, one day I'm gonna get that guy back. And he come by my car business, and I was like, "Yep, this is the time to get him back." I was gonna tell him, "Don't let that door hit you in the buttocks on the way out."
Good Lord split you.
Yeah, and my dad would have done that, but my mom would have prayed for him. So I was like, what would Jesus do? And I ended up selling him a car, bought a truck from him or something, But anyways, that is, forgiveness is real.
You ended up selling me 4 cars.
Was it 4?
Yep.
That's right. But seriously, forgiveness is a powerful tool. I mean, we don't think about it. We think forgiveness is being weak, but forgiveness really is a strength. And some of y'all's personalities will be hard.
I enjoy you telling it.
Well, it's true. I mean, if we harbor all this bitterness, man,
it only affects you.
It really is. Yeah. It really does. Marty, how you doing? You had the car wreck and it set you back. You've been unable to walk for what? 3 years now?
3.5 years. I've been crippled.
Well, I don't call it crippled. I just say it's a setback. We've been praying for you. I prayed with you a little while ago when I was over there.
You come over and brought me a delicious meal and prayed over me. That was really
Well,
good.
that was my mother-in-law, Brenda Smith, not me. I can't. Well, my wife reminded me to tell you that was her lasagna, by the way. It's
Well,
funny.
the
My
whole
wife
deal was-
needed credit, not her mom. I'm saying,
You saw what I did to that plate, didn't you?
oh, you knocked it out. It was gone.
You
know.
still shoot off your porch. I've seen some things of you shooting off your porch.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoy being out there. It's nice.
Yeah.
Well, you know, one thing I got to give you credit for, Marty. You've had such a good attitude, even though you've been, you've had this setback. I mean, we're all going through something, and you really. I've had a lot of people say that you've been an inspiration for them, because you've done a lot of things to help the least of these. In fact, I hope you don't get mad at me sharing this, but he mentioned he bought a car for me. He said he needed a car for a little girl. And a little girl, her parents couldn't even speak English. They were from Egypt, and a little girl's 16. And he goes, "There's your birthday present." And it was very touching, because I didn't even know who it was. And she goes, "What?" And she looked like Cher at 16. Remember Sonny and Cher? Long hair. And he goes, "There's your birthday present," from the porch. And she goes, "What?" And she was confused. He goes, "That car. That's your birthday present." Man, she broke down and started crying. Oh my gosh, I thought I was going to get choked up. And I told Marty, I said, "Man, that's your best moment, dude, of your life." Marty, remember what you said?
Uh-huh.
You want to say what you said? He goes,
Yeah, I paid too much for the car.
"No, you didn't say that. Wasn't it? That was $1,500 on the book, by the way." It was a nice car. Man, it had the chrome wheels, tinted windows, had everything, had heated seats, leather. But no, I said, "Man, that was your best day." That was your best day in the eyes of the Lord, right there, because you did it for
was a
somebody
good
that could
day.
not do anything for you. And Precious and her little sister, I think they had a cousin that was kidnapped in Egypt and freed. And but anyways, Marty, I'm gonna give you a couple more minutes to share some things you've got going on. Go ahead.
Well, I don't have a whole lot going on, except I've got Jennifer Allen still as my physical therapist.
Yep.
And boy, she comes over here. She sets the bar so high, it's unbelievable. But anyhow, I'm complying with everything she wants me to do. And right now, at this point in time in my life, I'm walking almost 50 feet.
Yes.
And I can
Amen.
drive my golf cart.
Yes.
I don't want to get in a car just yet. I got a driver that helps me with that. But yeah, I'm going to be walking and driving here.
Yes.
Shortly. It won't be
Amen.
much longer.
Amen. Well, thank you, Marty. Marty, I'll catch up with you.
All right, you
All
guys.
right.
Good talking to
Be
y'all.
good.
We need to meet one day.
We'll
Take
do
care,
it.
Marty.
Take care.
Y'all, we talked about the Trump shooting yesterday. Give us last 2 minutes we got here. What's y'all's thoughts?
Wow.
I mean, if you want to share it, your thoughts on. I mean, you may want to keep
I
it to
thought
yourself.
that something like that was going to happen.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
scary.
as much vitriol and whatever
When you
big
got-
word you want to use
When you
about
got half the country is on a daily basis demonizing someone, comparing them to Hitler for 4 years of their own
Yeah.
presidency, and then constantly throughout the next president. I mean, it's bound to escalate to something like that.
Yeah.
And I think that may have solidified his presidency.
I've been
I think
to
he's
4 Trump events. Trump was 50 feet from me on 2 occasions. CIA got onto, or Secret Service got onto us. We stood up on the chairs.
Yeah.
I mean, but so did everybody else at CPAC. And I mean, they yelled at us, "Get down, get down!" But they were rough. And even with the governor, I see in his inauguration, I see snipers, I see drones, and that's one of the main places they're going to look is rooftops. So it just seems. Some heads are going to roll this
It'll
week.
be interesting to see what the breakdown was. I know that's the counter sniper. There was no breakdown on him. I think you count about 5 seconds, and he took him out. So,
but you see that interview with the couple young guys, or they're warning, they're saying, "Hey, there's
Yeah.
a guy with a gun."
Yeah, and they said the law enforcement was running around like a chicken with their head cut
I
off.
talked to an undercover agent earlier that I know, and he said, "Man, that's just something's wrong there. Something is wrong." But some heads
Well,
are
and
gonna
you
roll
talk
this
about
week.
God and the Lord and all that kind of stuff. He didn't want him to die.
I mean,
he
even if
turned.
you're
You
not a
see where he
believer.
turned his head that
Yes.
last second.
Yes.
Now you can call that luck or whatever, but there's something better going
Well,
on.
I like probability statistics. The odds of him surviving that is so miraculous.
And a half an inch further,
Yes.
and boom, he'd be dead.
We got to remember there's a God in heaven, and these are spiritual
Oh, yeah.
battles. Thank you, Christopher Alford, Mark Brassfield.
Enjoyed being here.
All right, we'll see y'all next week.
Portions of our programming have been pre-recorded. The Good Neighbor Network, WGNS, Murfreesboro, Smyrna. Flagship station